Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So we'll be talking about the raid, basically on the completion and a lot of the things that I observed. I haven't played the raid, and that's not going to happen for a few months. I'm more of a person that likes to kind of watch and learn. So over the course of the day, I was basically just following and watching multiple streamers attempt the raid and just kind of watch what their dynamics will be. Currently, what I would advise players who really want to get into this raid is to be very active or proactive in getting their team together. And many people have been asking if this raid is actually some sort of a DPS check. The simple answer to that is no, it is not a DPS check. Yes, DPS is definitely something that looks like, from the gameplay that I've watched, probably maybe 7 hours of gameplay, probably is something that you would need. But at the end of the day, there's coordination, and there are a ton of mechanics that need to be done in a coordinated way. I was replying to one of the comments from somebody here on this channel who asked, what's the difficulty about it? Is it just because of the lack of knowledge? I said it's not only the lack of knowledge. It feels like you have to bring 2 neurosurgeons, one anesthesiologist, and one endocrinologist to this whole raid, and then bring 2 specialist nurses, because it's like a surgical procedure, because everybody has got to be really clinical on how they actually coordinate around, doing this mission together. And so that's some of the stuff that really makes it quite challenging regarding, team dynamics. And so if anything else, the developers have basically responded to what a lot of people had said about the first raid, and basically the way a lot of hardcore players basically grinded that raid from, completion all the way to 7-minute speed runs. For many of you who remember, within the first 8 hours, the first raid was, basically done. And then within a few days, people were doing the raid within the 30-minute mark, literally. And then within a week, the raid had actually gone to about 15 minutes in completion. So if that kind of hardcore, raid playing community is out there, that usually just shows up to a game for the raid, then if they show up for this raid, then we might start seeing the raid start to get scaled down to more bite sizes from a lot of people in the community. I guess that's basically, something that we might see. So for those who may be wanting to play the raid, I would say don't feel discouraged. There will be information out there, on exactly how to play it, and there will be teams. I have a Discord server. If you want to go ahead and check out, raid groups or whatever, there are Discord servers within the community from different content creators who will be, who'll be happy to have you join and find groups. So it's not the end of the world. It's just you really have to schedule time for you to play it. In my own case, I'm probably not going to be able to play it. There are many things that are lined up, for the rest of this summer that I still have to do. And this summer is quite different from last summer's raid, where the raid was actually out around May or something like that, whereas this one is coming out at the end of June. So that's a whole month where, if they had just brought it out earlier, maybe I would have been able to participate, much earlier in it. But I will have to say, though, the developers have basically made this raid as challenging as they possibly can. There are people who commented on my last video where we talked about kind of like how long it had taken, who said they had basically spent all their allotted dad time to be able to play, the game for the day. Some people said their wives gave them only 5 hours. Some said, they don't even have time, and all the time that they have for this raid, they're going to be transferring it to Cyberpunk 2077 in the month of July. Hopefully, I plan on covering Ghost of Tsushima on my other channel. So if you are interested in that game, you can hit me up there. It's Video Game Fight School. And so, timing is a very important thing for many people. But at the same time, I think another thing that if you're a more casual player anyways, one of the things you basically have to kind of be much more at rest about is a lot of people are going to do all the hard work for you. They're going to make videos talking about kind of the mechanics and how to beat it. And so that's something that you can definitely benefit from. There's nothing wrong as a Division player to learn from other people. Our community is made up of a more casual audience. For some strange reason, the Division game basically appeals to the audience that we have. And you know what's even funny? if you were playing the Division 1 and you are still playing the Division 2, you may have crossed the generations regarding your, your demographics. I started playing the Division when I was in my 20s. Can you imagine that? Now this was my late 20s, don't get me wrong, but now I'm in my early 30s, and imagine that kind of scale for many people in different age groups. So your life would change, and your life has probably changed since you first picked up the Division 1, and so you may not have enough time to invest until later down the road. Maybe you have an opportune day and you just beat it. And guess what? Again, I used the weapons that are actually being given in this raid in the PTS, and when I used them, I was like, well, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything if I don't beat the raid immediately, because those weapons are actually nice, they're good. But I didn't use the regular, so I take that back. I used only the rifle. The rifle is actually pretty good, but it's not overpowered where everybody is going to lose their minds like the Eagle Bearer. Imagine if the Eagle Bearer was locked behind this raid. I would basically flip tables and kick my computer, because I was already mad that, the Eagle Bearer was already locked in the first raid, and even much more upset, when they wouldn't even let the people who had the first Eagle Bearer, be able to port theirs to level 40 on the release of Warlords of New York. So there are many, many layers to all this stuff. But I will say, though, if you are going to beat this raid, you are going to beat this raid. And as I'm sitting here, I have a feeling I'll probably beat it, just not immediately. We'll still be talking about the Division game. There are a whole bunch of stuff that is planned to come out. Remember the PvE content that they said they were working on? I think this is something they're probably going to be trying to get done and dropping at the onset of the new console generation and new games to keep the Division still as a game that they probably maybe want to push to the next generation. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But anyways, that's basically it for me. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully we'll see you in another video. Peace.